Hello there, YouTube. I am Necrostevo, and it is time for PPL NX Stage 2 in the Bronze tier, where the Victorian Shadows have gone 0-5, so we will be going up against Bope and the Cleveland Guardians with a record of 2-3. Now for this matchup, we decided to come packing here. No Terra Captains at all. We are going to do our best to play the Primarina Meowscarada mirror match, and my opponent actually did not end up bringing his Primarina, so it's just a Meowscarada mirror match here. And you can see we actually both lead with our Meowscarada. Now I am banded, and I had a sneaking suspicion that he would either be scarfed or just an item to where he could switch up his moves. I did not think he would be banded. And so I call his bluff immediately, and I just go for a U-turn, and that works out very well because he swaps out to Galarian Weezing, and we're immediately able to get rid of its eject button. And so that works great for me because that means he has to send in a Pokemon, and then after he chooses who he goes out into, then I will get to choose who I swap to. So a good pivot on his part, but he was definitely expecting a different move, maybe Aura Sphere or fighting type move, maybe even triple axle, not really sure. But since he decided to go out to his Moltres, I do take the opportunity to just swap out here, and I'm going to go out into my specially defensive Galarian Slowking, and his Moltres is actually Terra Ghost. So here I wanted to see if I could either pressure him into Terraing this. He also had another Terra Captain for this match. Thinking that he might swap out, I did take this opportunity to switch as well. I figured he either would go for Terra Ghost, Terra Blast, or he would go for an offensive move. And so I just doubled out here to see what he was going to go for. He actually goes out to Ting Lu. This works out great for me because not only do I get the offensive pressure here if I decide to go for Flip Turn, but I could also just throw some damage down. And this Primarina is very bulky. I do go straight for Flip Turn, and Jirachi comes in on the Flip Turn. Now I hate battling Jirachi. It's just one of those Pokemon that I usually don't do well against, usually for Serene Grace related reasons. But here I decide to make the offensive pressure switch, and unless he is Scarf, my Ogerpon is faster. Now Ogerpon this week has spikes. Because of the overall setup of my opponent's team, I figured I could get some spikes up and that we would be swapping around. You can see from the very early game we were already swapping a lot. And I was considering the knockoff, but I don't think that I will be able to KO the Jirachi from this range. So I do just get up a layer of spikes. Jirachi actually stays in and goes for a U-turn, which does break my Sturdy. However, I think that this is worth the trade-off here. It's very likely that Meowscarada could have had Colbur Berry, and so if I went for knockoff, I wouldn't do very much damage anyway, and that would decrease the damage of a subsequent move in the future for a dark type move. So here I'm going to get the spikes up. He does have Terapagos in the back as well. If Terapagos doesn't have heavy duty boots, I will break the Terra Shell on the Terapagos. We see Meowscarada come in and take the spikes damage, and so great, now we know it's not heavy duty boots. And so I was wondering if Meowscarada was actually like Life Orb, or maybe some sort of lead toxic spiking set, something weird, because he did lead with it. And so I do want to swap out here. If he goes for a knockoff, I do have a Colbur Berry to lessen the damage on my Galarian Slowking, and after swapping out previously, I am at full HP. He just goes for U-turn, and that damage does not really tell me anything. That just looks like general offensive Meowscarada. We don't see a Life Orb though, and so here I am starting to think like, okay, I don't think he's Choice Scarf because he didn't stay in against me in the first place, and he's swapping out a lot, so maybe he just has utility moves, I'm not sure. Now last time when I swapped out from the Ting Lu coming in, I went out to Primarina, and so we are going to swap it up this time. I'm going to go out to my Meowscarada to try to generate some offensive momentum, because these banded hits are going to hurt. And I don't even have to go for a banded flower trick. I can just go for a banded U-turn. Once Protean changes my ability over to the bug type, that will put a major amount of damage on the Ting Lu, and if he swaps back out to Galarian Weezing, then I can very nicely pivot out from there. Now we see that Jirachi also takes some spikes damage, and man do I wish I had clicked the knockoff right there. But we can see just how much damage the banded U-turn does to the Jirachi, and we are going to take this opportunity to go to Ogerpon, because from this range, even if he has the Colbur Berry, I have a good chance to knock him out from this range. Now this was a little bit of a gamble, but since my Ogerpon Sturdy was broken and I already had the layer of spikes up, I did want to go ahead and risk this at this point. If he swapped out, I would love to get rid of some items around the Pokemon members on his team. So there were several different aspects to the knockoff here. Most, I was just hoping that he was not Scarfed, and he is actually Colbur Berry, but as I predicted, from that range, it did not matter that he was Colbur Berry, and we're able to take down the Jirachi very early before it's able to do anything too annoying to us. Now after Jirachi goes down, there's a few different things he can do. He could go out into his Moltres if it's Scarfed. He could threaten me with some moves there. Of course, his Meowscarada will naturally outspeed, and if it has triple axle, now it would outspeed and be able to finish me off with that. He does choose the Meowscarada, and I end up deciding to swap out here because I was expecting him to go for not U-turn. So thinking he was going to be going for a more offensive move, I go back out to Slowking, but he does go for U-turn. And I was like, man, I could have taken a little bit better advantage of him U-turning there. But that is okay. He's able to get Meowscarada off the field yet again. But we can see Meowscarada is getting worn down by the spikes coming onto the field so much. Now I am expecting him to go out into his Ting Lu. He also could go out to the Moltres and go for the Terra Ghost here. There's a few different aspects he could go for. But at full HP, Galarian Slowking can easily chew hits from anything that he chooses. And he does choose to go out to the Terapagos. So with Terapagos, it came out, and then I was very surprised to see that the Terra Shell broke due to the spikes. So that I was thinking, okay, is he Scarf Terapagos? Is he Specs? Does he have some sort of weird I don't know, defense curl set? But the damage he does to my Galarian Slowking, that is absolutely Specs. Holy crap, Terapagos hits very hard. I went for Toxic that turn, thinking if he has Recover, or he might have even had Healing Wish on Jirachi, he might have had different ways to get Terapagos' HP back up. So here, I do decide to swap out because I do want to keep Galarian Weezing around because it's a great answer to the Meowscarada, or unless Meowscarada goes for a knockoff, and even then I still have my Colbur Berry. But yeah, the Terra Starstorm, even as bulky as this Primarina is, after my Citrus Berry, I might not be able to take another one of those Terra Starstorms. We are going to hopefully be able to get off just some damage if I can take one hit. And the Terra Starstorm comes out and finishes me off from there, even with the Citrus Berry. This thing has crazy damage output. Fortunately though, the Toxic is just ticking away at it, and we know that we can easily finish him off with our Quaquaval. Now with Quaquaval here, I have the Metronome item, which means the more I use the same move in a row, the more powerful that move will become. Thinking that my opponent would not let his Terapagos go down right here, I decide to click Aqua Step, expecting the Moltres to come in to take the close combat, but he stays in and I don't KO it, and I lose my Quaquaval to a Spec Starstorm. The only thing that makes this slightly less bittersweet is that due to the Toxic, it's a double down, and I love double downs. However, that was completely unnecessary. I could have just KO'd him with close combat. I really thought he would save it because of the level of HP that it was at. But I was just flat out wrong there. So here, I went out to Meowscarada as he goes out to his, and I was so sure that I was faster, or I don't know. I just lose my Meowscarada immediately to a U-turn. So either he's Choice Scarfed or he has the winning speed tie there, because I was max speed. So I lost Meowscarada kind of for no reason. I lost Quaquaval definitely for no reason. But we're not out of this battle yet. I can still win with my Thundurus. Now this Thundurus is a cool set. It has a little bit of bulk because I was running just some things in the damage calculator. And I was like, oh, I can put a little bit of bulk on this thing because I don't need that much if I get up a nasty plot. I only have Thunderbolt and Grass Knot on this, thinking that I can absolutely take hits from different Pokemon. I was hoping that I could either force the Terra here, or that I would scare him out. And he does go out to his Ting-Lu, and this is perfect, because I go for Substitute. Now, against the Ting-Lu, I had two options. I could immediately go for my Nasty Plot, or I could just hit him with the Grass Knot. Ting-Lu is notorious for carrying Whirlwind, and I was so certain that he was just going to click Whirlwind and send me out to something else, and I wanted to make sure I got some damage on it, and so I just went straight for the Grass Knot, and that was not the play. I should have just gone for Nasty Plot, because he goes for Throat Chop, and if I had gone for Nasty Plot, then I would have been able to one-shot the Ting-Lu from the current level of HP that it's at. So, not that that was a 50-50 per se, but it is incredibly annoying that I could have gotten off a Nasty Plot right there, because right now, my Thundurus is faster than all the Pokemon that he has remaining, bar the Meowscarada, and that either forces Meowscarada to come in and go for the knockoff or triple axle, but with the little bulk that I had on Thundurus, I can take a knockoff, so he'd have to go for a triple axle to finish off my Thundurus. So I put up another Substitute, thinking, okay, maybe he's going to swap out, but he doesn't, and so I kind of just wasted HP there. I had an opportunity there to go for Nasty Plot. Throat Chop would not have been doing that much damage. It certainly would have put me in range of Meowscarada, but if I had just clicked the Nasty Plot after I subbed, we have Lamentations, just like, I don't know, the book in the Bible, something like that. But we do take out the Ting-Lu. 2 Grass Knots is enough to do it. Leftovers is slowly restoring our HP, but the Meowscarada comes in next. Now here I was very tempted to switch out to my Galarian Slowking, but I end up just deciding to stay in here, because if I stay in and he goes for a knockoff and he turns into a dark type, I should be able to KO him with the Thunderbolt. The other thing that is applicable here is if he turns into an ice type with triple axle and he does not hit all 3, then I can knock him out with the Thunderbolt there too. So he does go for knockoff, and I live because of my bulk investment, and we're able to finish him off with a Thunderbolt. And that, if I had the +2, this would be game right here. Unfortunately for me, because I don't have +2 special attack, I do not have enough special attack to finish off the Moltres. I could also try to swap out against the Moltres, but he does end up going for the Terra Ghost, and that means that the Thunderbolt will not do enough damage, and he can go for either just a coverage move, or maybe set up his own substitute and try something like that. Moltres also gets Roost, so a sub-Roost set was something I was maybe predicting, but he goes for Agility, and that, ladies and gentlemen, is the end of the match. And you can see there that we do a little bit over half with the Thunderbolt after the Terra, so Nasty Plot would have been the move to make sure that I one-shot that Moltres. But now the Moltres is faster than my whole team, and there's nothing that I can really do about it. Especially with Terra Ghost, Terra Blast, that will finish off my Galarian Slowking from the range of HP that it's at, unfortunately. I could also try swapping it in and swapping it back out, but it's just too little too late. And given how I played my Terapagos and my Meowscarada, I basically played this match with 4 Pokemon instead of 6. So we had several opportunities to win this battle, and I just didn't make the correct calls on those critical moments where I could have a Pokemon instead of having a Pokemon completely knocked out. But all that being said, Bope, thank you for the battle. Very cool to get to fight you for the first time, and Bope's information will be in the description for you to go check out his side of this match. This will end our PPL Stage 2 and PPL NX in general. We will not be in the final stage of the PPL because our record was terrible. However, you all can probably hear it in my voice and in my narrations. I am doing significantly better these days, and so I will be joining the Season 2 of Low Tier Mayhem. So be sure to come and check that out, and we'll hopefully be able to take a lot of the experiences that we've learned through here in the PPL NX with low tier Pokemon and do better here in the future. Please stay tuned for what the Victorian Shadows have coming up next. And if you ever feel alone, remember, as long as your shadow is there, you're not truly alone. Because I'm there with you. Have a great night.